Good evening. The time is now 7 p.m. I'd like to call this Board of Selectmen meeting to order for September 23rd. Ask you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And roll call.
Art Gagnon.
Kevin Cunningham.
Peggy Bory.
Item C, approve meeting minutes from the Board of Selectmen meeting from 9/9/24.
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for 9/9/24.
And I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item D is public comment. Is there anybody here from the public who wishes to speak tonight? Okay. Item E is all business. Discuss and act on a request from to the Board of Finance on funding in order to fund demolitions of buildings deemed unsafe. Let me walk through a few items with you because this is a constantly changing list. What I put in front of you was a list of 4 different properties: 256 Spalding Road, 18 Railroad Ave, 35 Prospect Ave, and 619 Norwich Road. Let's go through a couple of them right now. The first one would be 18 Railroad Ave. For those people who don't know, that's owned by Joe Godot and family. I spoke to Joe and having conversations with him, asked him to consider the fact that the building inspector had put an unsafe sticker on it, just so we understand what an unsafe was in that building. The roof caved into the first floor, which went to the basement, and he gutted everything out and took it out of there. However, it's still unsafe because you have to understand if anybody walked in and tried getting in, they would have fallen into that area and would have placed the town in a predicament. With also, they'd come after the town as well because we placed the unsafe sticker on there. Joe was very amenable. He worked to actually clean it up and it looked very nice. So that was one I would say.
The walls have been taken down on that, and it's completely cleaned up and filled in.
Yep.
So that one's all set. It's not a danger to anybody anymore.
The next one up would be listed as 35 Prospect Ave. So, doing the history on that, there is a few items that should be mentioned. I've been trying to work with the owner of that building for a few years, noting that it is it was not in good condition. It needed to be having upgrades to it and updates. And I finally had worked with the building inspector to have a review of the building. Came back with a state building code 117 for imminent danger, posted it as an unsafe structure, similar to that of 18 Railroad. I gave the woman ample opportunity to try to find either a buyer for the actual building, and if not, try to figure out what to do with it because it was definitely unsafe. And she ran out of time. I even gave her names of people to contact in case they wanted to try to buy it.
So once you took down the Sportsman, those walls, I mean, it makes that building unsafe because the roof is caved in, and am I wrong if it says it's going to implode?
Yep.
At some point. Once you take the Sportsman down, that building, the only thing holding up that structure on Prospect Street was those 2 walls. Those 2 walls are now gone. That's what's going to happen to that building.
Yes and no. I mean, if they kept it in decent condition, it would have been fine.
It would have been, but at this point, it's not fine.
So we had, when we took down the other building, there was some notification that there could be some more issues with that building, so we took it upon ourselves to contact the town attorney. Still tried reaching out to the woman, no response. Also, we wanted to go in with the understanding that we would review what was seen. I can just say that one person alone walked in, took videos and pictures, and what was found was he gingerly stepped on the first floor with the camera around the corner to what was the staircase area and was able to see the skyline because there was no roof, no 3rd floor, no 2nd floor. Everything was collapsed on the 1st floor, heading its way down towards the basement. With that, we had to make a decision of what to do, and obviously it was a simple decision. We've been in contact with Eversource to take the power that was no longer there, but still take the cable down that's been out of power for 10 years. They took that down today. I've been working with the neighborhood residents. There's 2 buildings there with tenants. We've contacted both owners and made sure that they're going to be safe when it comes down. We talked to the state DOT because that's along a state road. We had to have an approval from the state DOT to have that area closed. We've also contacted, just in case there's any issues that came out from the health district, explained to them what was going on. Of course, our town attorney, who's advising how to process this, contacted our local fire department, contacted the police, Plainfield Highway Department. We've also, as you can see today, put it out on our town website. WINY also picked that up for us. We've had a Nixle alert put out there. We verified it with the Historic Society because that's one of the members that has to, one of the things that has to be approved. Ruth Bergeron was contacted and she approved of that. We've done a call before you dig just to make sure they're aware of what's going on over there. We also contacted Connecticut Water. So, and the Nixle alert already went out. We plan on doing the following. Tomorrow, the building will be secured. They're trying to put some sort of netting around the top, so that way they can pull it away from where the other residents are. The concern really is that the structure for the chimney. They're going to try to pull it and aim it towards not only Joe's area, but also onto the road.
Towards Railroad Avenue,
Yep.
which they closed down.
So that's why the alarm went out there today, to make sure everybody knows ahead of time, so that we'll actually take down Prospect Street.
And
Next.
did she answer you in any way? I didn't think.
We sent a certified registered letter and also tried making phone calls. The next item on that is, so we would have to then try to figure out roughly how much it would cost to do the demolition and go to the Board of Finance with that and the other ones.
Do we have an estimate?
Well, we were told initially between 50 and 60. We were also talking with Mystic Air about what happens if we find any asbestos, and because they can't get in to test right now, we have to have them come after the fact to do test, and we would anticipate that the majority of the materials would have to go out in a specialized container, so that could bring it up to possibly even $100,000. So that's where we stand with that one.
Which we would...
I'll get to that.
Okay.
Yep. The next ones after that are 619 Norwich Road, for anybody that knows where this property is, at the top of Payson. And along Route 12, you find that 619 is that house there on the left-hand side. They don't want to bring any value to the property, that's why they don't fix it up. But in the back, there's a garage which literally the roof line looks very similar like a horseshoe. So that was also something that he was trying to work out with a local company to come in and take it down. They did test it for asbestos, and that's when the owner then decided to, and I'll use the phrase ghost, by not replying back to any comments made, any phone calls, any knock on the door, anything. So that also has an order on there as unsafe, so that building should come down as well. And then there's one more, which is 256 Spalding, and you have all of this stuff in your packet. 256 Spalding. The gentleman that owns the property came in last week, and he actually spoke with me about it. He's under the impression that he can actually go out there and first of all, he's owed back taxes. I sent him another letter. He owes back taxes. He can't get a building permit without back taxes being paid. He then has to have a contract, a licensed contractor do the work. So we haven't seen any of that, but I reminded that in the letter. So, and we just don't want people living in there. We want to make sure it's all safe. So he has a letter. We're going to look into trying to work something out so that we don't have to do all of that. He would take care of it, but until I get a word back from him, that's on hold.
Have they both, the last two, have they both had registered letters?
Yep. So at this point, the one that's facing us right now, I would say probably anywhere between 80 and 100,000, and the one here in Norwich Road, estimated cost for takedown, including the asbestos, is about 15,000. So it is a responsibility of the town. I would ask that we would consider making a vote to go to the Board of Finance to take the monies out of the fund balance to the tune of $120,000. That should cover the expenses to take down the materials, and then we would put a lien on each of the properties to return and recoup that money back. That's how it would be phrased to the Board of Finance.
Do we have a list of any other properties in town that are like this?
No. No, we are still looking around.
Because I was going to say, on South Main Street, there's a house that had a prior fire, and I think the roof has come in on that as well. That's something we need to look at.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
But if you know, or anybody else knows of properties like that, we can take a look at them and just...
It's on South Main Street.
Yeah, Melissa Rose.
No,
Melissa Furman's, yeah.
Melissa Furman's. Just to
We
look at it.
can do an inspection on that and then go from there.
Thank you. I'm
You
sorry.
always have to get them opportunity to.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'm just saying, I want to, like we're doing our due diligence on these four, I want to make sure we are aware of other things in town that have the same prospect as that does. Like you said, anything else that we know we can act upon, but that's what I know.
So the information that you had in your packet, what I just mentioned now, I would ask what your pleasure would be on this one.
I make a motion that we do $120,000, request $120,000 for demolition on these two properties from the Board of Finance.
And that's what it is, just the two. We're going to come back
Yes,
this fall.
we're going to come for the third.
So I'll second that.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, the next one up is new business. New business item number 1, consider an act on tax refunds as requested by the tax collector amounting to $252.62. I know I spelled it wrong, but Jaylene Gardner, 17807, Patty R. Howell, 4178, and Mark A. Brays, 432.79.
You said 62, I was just looking.
Oh, 252.
64. Make a motion to approve the tax refunds in the amount of $252.64.
And I'll second it.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item 2, I had hoped that we would have been able to discuss this tonight. Unfortunately, the contract finally got TA'd, tentative agreement,
Okay.
last Friday. And so what we'd like to do is the COPS division of 564 has not been voted, and they should be able to complete this by Monday morning of next week. I'm going to ask that you would consider having a meeting, special meeting for the Board of Selectmen just for this one item for the 30th. So we have to have a motion to table to the 30th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
At the town hall, 7 o'clock. All right, in your packet, you've got a number 3. Number 3 says, consider an act on an opening, a bid opening for the renovation of the front entry plaza lower level storage room. We've gone through the process of identifying what the issues were for repairs that have been needed for the town hall. We put that out to bid for 2 pieces to be done at one time. We did put the bid out, and it was opened up last week. The bids are G. Donovan Associates from North Franklin for $579,909, K&H Construction from Plainfield for $275,559, West Reach Construction for $239. It was mentioned at the meeting, just so you know, it was mentioned at the meeting that there was concern over how close are they for being a hometown company versus somebody else. But I then had to remind the K&H that unfortunately the ordinance 115 is for saying everything up to $100,000. So that would not apply in this case. So at this point,
But I think we should still apply the same premise to it. A hometown, someone in the town of Plainfield versus someone that's not, I think the business, if we're going to spend money as a town, the first priority should be to consider a hometown company.
and that would be fine if ordinance 115 wasn't there. I mean, that's an ordinance, so I'm not going to go against it.
So the ordinance says we can't.
On any project cost which is less than $100,000 and does not involve federal and state funding, the lowest responsible bidder shall be determined in the following order. So,
Sometimes you get what you pay for, though.
I'll make a motion to award the bid for the renovation of the front entry plaza and lower level to West Reach Construction for the amount of $239,000.
okay, I'll second that. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I will contact them tomorrow and schedule time that we can start working on that project. And then we'll notify the public of that as well, because that does include the ramp area. So we have to be very careful when we do the ramp, because we're coming up to an election. So I did reach out to another company who said that they might be able to supply us with a temporary ramp during that time frame of construction.
And to Peggy's point, I would prefer a local company also, because they're going to do a better job for you because they live here.
Exactly.
But maybe we could look into the procurement policy and all at some time.
At some point,
Like
because
$100,000.
they live in the town, they work in the town, they pay
Mhm.
taxes in the town.
Yeah, it would be nice.
They gotta live with us, let's put it that way.
We just have to sit down and talk about that as an ordinance, because
Yeah.
that's also a dollar value you have to look at, because if you're saying within what percentage, what more money are the taxpayers paying for
Oh,
stuff?
without a doubt, I'm not saying we accept that bid, I'm just saying
No, it's for
it
future
should,
discussion.
it should have more weight, that's all I'm saying.
Because even still, he wasn't within the 10%.
No, he wasn't, but I'm just saying, I agree with the, we need to just, I think it should weigh more.
Okay, so on to item number 4, discuss and act on consulting fees for Moose Up Rotary Park mural. You have in front of you a company which is willing to help the town of Plainfield for its mural. There's a part to there that Shannon had written a letter to it. So this is looking for sponsorship, which they have done in the past for other communities, and they were able to attain all of their funding for it. They anticipate that this project would cost a total of $30,000, of which Rise Up would actually be able to go out and look for different organizations to cover the costs.
And it costs no money to the town.
That's the idea, yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. Even once we vote on this, I can then mention something else. So I'll go there first. What's your pleasure on this after reading that letter? And
My pleasure is that we award or let,
consulting fees from Moose Up Rotary Park to go to Rise Up.
to go to Rise Up, yes.
I have a question on it.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have the consulting fees, correct? 2,500?
Yep,
So we're voting to give them 2,500
to start the
to
process.
start it?
Yep.
Is there a prospect of this being returned if they get grants?
I don't think that would be
Okay, so
So, yes,
we're just doing our part to help out.
correct.
right, to start the process.
Okay, I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we have another item 5, which says discuss and act on abandonment of Williams Ave. Now, this is Williams Ave number 1. Just in case you had any questions tonight, I also asked the town planner and highway supervisor here. So it says on their little form there, it says Williams Ave number 1. The overview has a picture, and I can kind of lay it out for you where that is. That. Williams Ave number 1. You can see where that is. It goes down through here and there. That's actually on people's properties as well.
Looks like there's outbuildings on it.
Yeah, there's all sorts of things that I would strongly suggest that we vote for abandonment of that road, as we don't want to be having a plow truck trying to squeeze down an area that it won't fit.
What road is this right here?
So you're going to have River, and you're going to have
On Street and Talbot Ave.
Onto
And
the
then
top?
River Street's on the front side.
River's over at Pond and Talbot.
So, why are we abandoning it again?
Well, for how many years we didn't touch it?
I've been there over 28 years. Last year, the first year, we started the plow, and that was 28 years.
Really?
And it puts us on a liability. Now
Well, yeah.
we're plowing on something that belongs to multiple people.
It meets no regulations for a road,
It's like an old back alley to the mill home?
pretty much.
Yeah.
It's not even wide enough to go through with a 9-foot plow.
It's not paved, it's dirt.
Easily. It's very hard to get in that plow.
The mill houses were constructed back to back, so the front of the houses were on the street, in the backs they had basically driveways going down. That's how you get to it. And this was one of those driveways. The town took it over in probably the 1940s. It was never officially given to the town. It was never formally adopted. But for a while it was maintained back before we had modern-sized plow trucks.
So essentially, we'd be plowing on other people's property. Am I
And
right?
where do you put the snow?
Right, but I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
well,
we're
we
gonna,
have to snow go with it.
the town doesn't want to be plowing on other people's property, but that's a huge liability, am I right, Ryan?
Right, so the center line of Williams Ave #1 goes right down the middle of the gravel drive.
There's a garage in the middle of that. It's probably, well, the edge of the road is right there, the back of that garage.
Yep.
So if you go through there with a plow truck and
You see that
you
number
can hit, a
146?
heavy plow snow, it's pushing into that garage, that would be
That is
pretty
a garage.
a garage.
On the road.
The house is
That's
actually,
cool.
Is this technically a right-of-way for the town?
so it's a funky situation that the property's owned to the center line of the road. It's a driveway, it's the driveway that straddles the property lines. And the town took it over just to maintain it back in the 1940s or so, and then at some point they stopped, I don't know when. And now it needs to be officially discontinued or abandoned.
Are the property owners aware of this?
Yep.
They are?
I don't know.
The one that was complaining about it certainly does.
Yeah, but have we notified the other?
She's the one who took the pin out of the road. It was actually a lane pin.
Oh, Jesus. All right, but there's a couple more properties, have we notified them? I mean, I know we didn't do it for hundreds of years, obviously, 20-something years, but then we did, and now we ain't. Did you get the?
We did for 1 year.
Yeah, for 1 year, that's what I'm saying.
Last year, one of the property owners asked the town to plow it,
Right?
and it was discovered that, yes, we did maintain it
Yep.
as an unapproved road
On paper.
on paper. So it's stated that we maintained it, even though we haven't done it in 30 or so years.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was attempted to plow it. It was not easy, it was not safe.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other property owners, a few houses up, come out to me and said, what are you doing plowing my driveway?
That's my point, you're plowing other people's properties, and the driveway is a perfect example of what I'm talking about.
Kind of pretty much said to me, it's like you don't belong here.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Liable to tear up the property and will be sued.
Yes. Exactly.
It appears it only goes through 2 properties.
Pretty much.
I have a question for you, though.
Huh?
Is this, we have an ordinance on accepted roads and unaccepted roads of the town.
We're going to put a list back in the state of Connecticut.
Will be an
We,
unaccepted road.
different towns abandon roads all the time, so it's not, I'm not sure that the amount of money that we're getting from the state of Connecticut isn't going to add up to much more of maybe, I don't know, a couple $100.
Considering the liability part, considering what we can do.
$6,000 for a new plow, man.
Yeah, and our equipment.
And just to be clear, this was never a town-owned road. This was a driveway the town plowed for however many years until they stopped. Long before we were here.
And he's been here 28 years.
It had to be at some point to name it Williams Ave #1.
So that was named Williams Ave by the mill.
Oh,
And the mill owned all the villages, all the land, all the roads, all the water, all owned by the mill. And then in the 40s, when people started driving to work, the mills started renting out the houses, they started selling them off. And that's when the town took over the roads. Some roads were given to the towns, other roads, the town maintained them, but was never given the road. This was one of those ones that the town just plowed it, but never owned it, and never formally adopted it.
and we just plowed it last year because someone requested it.
Yes.
What's that person going to do when you don't plow it now?
I don't know. Well, if it's abandoned, it's abandoned.
Well,
We don't
absolutely.
have to. So when we looked up to see if we ever maintained it, we found out that yes, at one time we did.
Mhm.
Nobody knew it, but we did at one time.
And nobody said anything for 28 years? Okay.
I just have one more question. Once we abandon this, do those two properties have the right to seed it and put lawn if they want that?
Whatever they want.
It
Well,
becomes
they
their
have-
property?
They have co-ownership of it, and it's basically a certain right-of-way. I don't know if there's an actual deed right-of-way, but they all have rights to use it.
Okay.
I'm sure if they wanted to continue maintaining it themselves, they could make an agreement between each party to figure out who wants to plow it. That's up to them.
And where the property lines are.
Well, they've been doing it for almost 30 years before.
Yeah, last year.
No, just be civil
Yeah.
instead of
Yes.
municipal.
So item 5, discuss and act on abandonment of Williams Ave. What's your pleasure?
I make a motion that we abandon Williams Ave number 1.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 6, acting on appointment of veteran service officer. We have a service officer now, Gary Brown. Gary has served the town well, but the problem that I see is that the coverage. Gary comes once a month for 2 hours, an hour and a half, 2 hours, and that's it. So there was a gentleman reaching out to us who is a certified veterans officer. He's asked to speak. He came in, he wanted to know if he could be there because he wants to service the town with more hours. He's an active member of American Legion Post 91. He does live in Voluntown. I think I gave you a copy of his bio.
And you also gave us a copy of the local Veterans Advisory Committee,
Yep.
and what they do. So do with this, we're replacing the other guy?
Correct.
Does the other guy know it?
Yep, I told him, I said we're considering making a move, but I can't tell him yes or no, because I'd like to put it on to the selectmen meeting to have him.
Right, how did the other guy feel about that? The one
Well,
that was
he
less-
has, I'll put it like this, he likes doing what he does, he would like to continue, but he's also picking up 2 more towns. So he services multiple towns, and that's why we're down to once a month.
I do believe that the veterans do need more services. So I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Mark Ledoux Senior as the new Veterans Service Officer.
A motion?
And how is he going to get more?
He
He says 2 hours still.
Yep.
8, which won't work anyway, but.
No, he was asking,
What's your pleasure?
what other things do you want? How much more do you want?
That's his question.
If he's coming twice a month, then it services more than we have.
Right, and he's asking you.
So if he's looking for more hours, is this going to cost more money?
No, it's always a flat fee.
Okay.
It's always the same flat fee. It doesn't matter if you come, 5 days a week. It's the same flat fee.
Okay, I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. I would like to ask that you please consider adding to the agenda item number 7, to discuss and act on appointing a tree warden for the town of Plainfield, and item number 8, to discuss and act on a project to fix a town of Plainfield drainage pipe located on Noosa Pond Road.
So moved to add 7 and 8. to the
Second.
agenda.
Art and Peg, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. On item number 7, we have, believe it or not, we do have a tree warden.
I think it's a tree warden. Please explain.
Well, we have our highway supervisor here, we do have a tree warden. You want to give a brief explanation?
Tree warden. What's a tree warden?
Our tree warden is Henry Dexter. He's been the past tree warden. Last year he was tree warden. He's been a member of the highway department for about 10 years now. And, he's been doing all the schooling with the state. Had his classes with the state. I think he went to last one. Yeah, he's been doing a good job.
What does he do? What's a tree warden do?
He goes out and looks at trees. If somebody's saying, hey, this tree looks like it's dead, it should come down, whatever. Well, we'll go out and we'll do tree inspections throughout the town and say, okay, and then we'll have to decide, is it on town property or is it private property?
And then he works with the private property owners to take it down if it's unsafe?
We can request that from them.
Or works with Eversource, because
Yeah.
some of the trees that we have on the town of Plainfield may be entangled in some of the wires with Eversource, or could fall into those. So that's why we had him contact Eversource, verify who's who, and then they work together There's also the other issue of the height of the tree. We have trees, like everywhere else in New England, some are well over 65 feet, but you have to be able to access them. The truck that we have right now,
It's kind of like South Main Street was.
yep, we do have a bucket truck which we share with other towns, and we get that every other month. Sometimes they give it to us in good condition, most of the time not. So it takes us a little while just to fix it up, and then we go out there and tackle. We have a list of larger than 65.
We've had a good rapport with Eversource. They've been really good to us. If we have something, and they get a hold of the tree crew that's working in town for them, and they've been very generous in taking down trees for us, so that helps the town down. And they was very instrumental with the woman from Eversource, their arborists, on getting that taken care of. So they've done quite a few trees for us in about 3 years. At no cost to us, so it's
You're looking to do what?
So every 2 years, we're required to vote, because the tree warden has to be listed with the state of Connecticut. That's part one. Part two is he gets a small stipend for this because he also does work. He may get called outside hours as well, but he has a small stipend for that as well. So you'll see in your packet that there is an MOU for that.
And we're keeping the same Henry Dexter?
Same Henry Dexter. Same helpful Henry Dexter.
Yeah, he seems to be doing a good job, so.
I believe so.
I'll make a motion to appoint Henry Dexter as the tree warden for the town of Plainfield.
And I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Item number 8 is to discuss and act on a project on town of Plainfield. So, the act on a project to fix a town of Plainfield drainage pipe located on Moose Pond Road. I will tell you right now that I'm going to read the statement to you, and then I'll let you to, because that is what I'm going to tell you, is that it is a project that involves my property. So, according to the Ethics Board, a person governed by the code shall not engage in participation in discussion, voting, or action of any matter brought before him or her on a board that he or she is a member of that would result in financial gain or loss to a public official, employee, and his or her immediate family. If such participation is within the scope of the public official and public employee official responsibility, he or she shall be required to disclose that to the record, which I have just done, and then provide set forth a detail of the nature of the extent which I have done to you. Upon disclosure, the public official or public employee shall recuse him or herself from such participation and vacate the room where the business is being conducted during that time of the discussion. So I, Kevin Cunningham, acting in the capacity of first selectman of the town of Plainfield, wish to recuse myself from the discussion and vote on the matter of town drainage located on my property, 405 Moose Pond Road, as described in Plainfield Code of Ethics 1 through 3. So at this point, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Art, and if you have any questions, I did bring these two gentlemen here for that, if you have any follow-up questions. So for that, you're done?
I guess Ron, it would probably be the one to ask about explaining this.
okay, so there's a catch basin on the side of the road abutting Mr. Cunningham's property, and then there's approximately 400 feet of pipe that goes underground through this property to a little settling pond where the water dissipates from there. That water comes from the opposite side of Moose Pond Road, which comes out of a little swamp, and there's a pond back in that area. If you have your rains, it overflows, so it just all keeps continuing to go down that way. That pipe running through the yard is an old metal pipe, and it's rotted, and the yard's caving in. So something needs to be done, because if it caves in, it plugs up, it's going to back up, and then it's going to end up running over the road, and we're going to end up washing out Moose Pond Road. So there's quite a bit of work that needs to be done. The old pipe needs to be dug up. We need to put in new pipe. We're going to go with plastic versus steel, which is what's there now. Plastic should get a lot more life out of that. There's also a small retention pond at the end of that pipe in the back of their property that collects the water and dissipates from there. That also needs some work back there.
Excuse me, so this all goes through your property?
Goes through their property.
This whole pipe goes right through the property?
Yeah,
of-
underground.
Yeah, it goes right through the property of Moose Pond Road?
It comes from a crossover pipe from the other side of Moose Pond Road, from
On the right hand
adjacent to
side?
their property.
Yeah.
Yeah. And goes under the road, And it goes to a small basin on the side of the road to their property, and then from there it goes underground through a pipe to the back of the property.
So how,
It needs to be dug up.
They'll replace it. They have a right of way, is it called a right of way? Or
Easement?
easement?
is it an easement?
Right, yeah,
I'm just
right.
concerned because it's private property and we're going through their land.
It's actually a restricted right to drain, meaning that there was no deed easement given, which is the case of most of our drainage in town. But because it's been there for so many years, we get to continue draining there. We just have to maintain it.
Okay, because Lucid Pond is a problem when you're driving through with the heavy rains and in the wintertime with the snow and the heavy rain, the heavy snow, because it's an ice skating pond. Is that what we're talking about for that? Where it all pulls
I
up?
don't know about that section.
Yeah.
So what section?
Just before their Lucid Pond, their property.
Oh, you're talking further down,
Okay.
Smith Road, that's a little bit further down.
Okay,
That's a whole.
that's a whole little,
problem.
well, I'm just making sure it's
It
not,
goes down toward their property, yes, some of it comes down toward their property.
and that, with the drain being compromised, that's part of the problem?
Some of it, not all of it.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
So that's part of our problem with
Yes,
that road.
that needs a lot of work down there.
So if we fix this, it will help.
But I'll take some of
Alleviate
it,
that.
take some of it. Won't mediate all of it,
No.
but take a little bit of it. Yeah, you're still gonna have ice there until we get to, redoing that road, that section. of road.
Do we have, is there a future plan of any kind in people's minds or something to
I don't
address that?
have an exact time.
No, I'm not asking that, I'm just asking if you,
I know it's an issue, and I know it's something that section of road needs to be taken care of, yes.
okay.
Any other questions for me?
You?
No, I kind of know what it is. Is this a safety issue for the residents besides?
It could be, yes.
Okay, does the pipe show?
It doesn't show, but they have sinkholes in their yard,
Okay.
and I put my hand down in that sinkhole, and I found the side of the pipe, and it's all rotted out. You just pull the pipe apart.
Okay.
So the sinkholes in the yard, which is a horse pasture.
Right, that's what I'm concerned.
So, the horse could easily
Wait,
right
right.
there, that's not.
So they really can't use that for the horses right now.
It's gonna be very complicated. So that's something that needs to definitely needs to be taken care of.
And do you have an estimated cost on this?
I'm hoping to be under $7,000 on that. Pipe alone is $3,500.
Okay.
So you said 7, estimation?
Estimate 7,000, yeah. Pipe is 3,500. We're gonna need several loads of riprap. It's about $480 to get out of my load. We're gonna start digging with our backhoe. As we get down closer to that selling pond, it gets pretty wet. We may have to rent a mini excavator to go in and finish up the job.
Okay. Because if we put a dollar amount on it, I want to make sure it's enough.
Yeah, and that's $485 a day to rent a mini excavator.
So it's 7,000
So
like
I think we should cover it.
on the higher
Even
side.
on the higher side,
think
if
it's the higher
there's
side.
issues that arise?
Excuse me?
Even if there's issues that arise?
I
Because you're a recording secretary. I make a motion, I seconded, all in favor, motion passed.
Can we put a dollar value?
That's $7,000.
It's up to.
Yeah, we want to make sure we're not, any of those problems.
All right, thank you with that. We will move into other. Other is a reminder of the openings on boards and commissions. For anybody who's interested, that wants to know, well, what boards and commissions you have available for openings, you can go onto the town website. There is a way to do that. There's a vacancy report. I put a couple of things on here which are, at this point, we don't need to add on. The Open Space Advisory, the other one down is Board of Assessment Appeals. I'm sorry, Zoning Board of Appeals. That's already been filled, so that's why that was knocked off. The rest of them, we have looking for people who want to volunteer for the Ag Commission. And I apologize, the way this report comes out, it doesn't tell you the party. but you can go on there and take a look at that. For Building Code Board of Appeals, Conservation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 positions for that. Economic Development, they're still looking for 2 people for that. Housing Authority, that's the one with the question of need a resident commissioner. And then the other one is Inland Wetland Watercourse. But for those interested, please take a look online. You should be able to find opportunities for you if you want to serve on boards and commissions. Last item for the regular meeting. The town of Plainfield also is looking for a resident to serve the Board of Directors of United Services. The Board of Directors is looking for someone for the town of Plainfield because we used to have me in the past, someone on the board to serve for United Services Board of Directors, which is a great opportunity for helping people for different services that they do need. And if you have a question on that, I can hook you up with Diane Manning. She's the CEO of the corporation, and she can definitely help you to steer you in the right direction if you're interested. With that, I entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The time is 7:42. We can go right into Water Pollution Control Authority. Thank you. You may want to check in your office, sir, because I left you something.
Presents.
This office is downstairs.
Town of Plainfield Water Pollution Control Authority meeting for September 23rd is called to order. Roll call.
Art Gagnon.
Kevin Cunningham.
Peggy Boyd.
Approved minutes of WPCA meeting dated August 26, 2024.
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for August 26, 2024.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Public comment? Okay. There is no old business, new business. Discuss and act on WPCA appropriation of solar array relocation. I was just informed today that they asked me to not vote on, but table, but we can discuss. Just so you know, what we're trying to do is we're trying to move a solar array ground mount to a different location so that we may be able to move forward with putting in the 2 larger clarifying tanks. So they have proposed how much it's going to cost. We're still looking at how we're going to be able to accommodate payment on that. We have enough money between what's left over right now in our reserve fund for the sewer department, as well as some monies that might be available for the upcoming future with the ARPA monies. Most of our ARPA monies were dedicated towards the ramp, but we may be able to work on something. So
When does ARPA run out?
we have to have it all allocated and actually earmarked into something with a contract by the end of this year. They changed the processing on that. It was earmarked and then spent by 25, 26. Now they're moving it up to 24. So we'll have that. Yeah. Oh, not by any contract. That's all you really need. Yeah.
So where are we gonna move these panels to?
There is a mapping which I don't have with me, but I can definitely show you on the mapping next meeting. And it will show you that where they have them as you drive into the sewer department, it's right in front of you, would then end up behind the other, where the clarifying tanks are way up in the back area by the river. They have to elevate them so that we follow under the, we call it
Well, it has to be facing the southern sky.
the change that the state, the federal government came up with the flood zone. So the floodplain zone.
Floodplain, yes.
That's
Yeah.
what
Let's
it's
vote.
Okay.
Correct.
But it'll have the same effect from where it is, the same sunlight
Yep.
from where it is to where it's going?
Yep, no change in that,
All right,
because it's all open in both areas.
that's my concern.
So I guess I would ask to consider, oh, go ahead.
Same, we're still discussing.
Yeah.
I have a question on the exclusions, in the assumptions. Do we have a dollar amount if
I can
any of
get that
this
for you.
should take place? Because like you said, if they're gonna have to raise them, that's an additional cost.
No, that was actually figured in.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, because they say, this is the only thing in here.
Yep. It
This
has to
was
go
not,
further.
so.
Yep.
And the other question I have now, that I see we're paying for moving these, suppose we needed to do the roof over on this building, and we needed them moved, they're gonna charge us for that? I thought that was, if you needed to do work on the roof, they come move them and come put them back for nothing.
This was part of the contract that was written before, and Earthlight gave that.
Yes. Earthlight's in a lot of projects in town. Some projects are written that way. Apparently this one wasn't. Is the town roof written that way?
I have to take a look at the actual contract, but I think those are something that they would pay for the moving of those.
That's what I thought. So when this stuff first started coming out, it didn't have any contracts for moving the panels. Now it comes pretty standard. I mean, it should come standard anyway. But anytime you do some work on your roof or whatever, that they will pay to move it.
Every contract's a little different. but-
Everyone.
I make a motion to table this item.
Motion to table.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 And that would conclude all the action items for this meeting. I would ask you to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Time is 7:47.